When people talk about the greatest saxophonists in history, a handful of names always appear. Yet even among those legends, Sonny Rollins stood apart. His powerful tone, endless creativity, and ability to transform even the simplest melody into something unforgettable made him one of the most respected musicians of all time. For more than 70 years, he inspired generations of performers, collaborated with jazz giants, and created recordings that remain essential listening today. This is the story of Sonny Rollins, his childhood, his rise to fame, his struggles, his triumphs, and the circumstances surrounding his death. Sonny Rollins was born Theodore Walter Rollins on September 7, 1930, in Harlem, New York City. His parents were immigrants from the Virgin Islands, and music was an important part of family life. Growing up in Harlem during the height of the jazz era exposed young Sonny to extraordinary musical influences. The neighborhood was filled with talented musicians, vibrant clubs, and a rich cultural atmosphere. As a child, he became fascinated by music and began experimenting with different instruments before eventually discovering the saxophone. By his teenage years, Rollins was already showing signs of exceptional talent. Inspired by jazz pioneers such as Coleman Hawkins, Charlie Parker, and Lester Young, he devoted countless hours to practice. Those early years laid the foundation for what would become one of the greatest careers in jazz history. By the late 1940s, Sonny Rollins had already entered the professional jazz scene. His talent quickly attracted attention from established musicians. He performed and recorded with some of the biggest names in jazz, including Thelonious Monk, Miles Davis, and Max Roach. Working alongside such legendary artists accelerated his development and helped establish him as one of the most promising young saxophonists in America. Even at a young age, Rollins possessed a distinctive sound that separated him from his peers. His solos were intelligent, adventurous, and deeply expressive. Musicians and critics began taking notice. Despite his growing success, Rollins faced significant personal difficulties. Like many musicians of his generation, he struggled with heroin addiction during parts of his early career. These challenges threatened to derail his future. However, Rollins was determined to overcome his problems. He sought treatment and worked hard to rebuild his life. His ability to overcome addiction became one of the defining examples of resilience in jazz history. The experience also influenced his outlook on life, encouraging a lifelong commitment to self-improvement and spiritual growth. The 1950s proved to be the most important decade of Sonny Rollins' career. During this period, he released a series of landmark recordings that transformed modern jazz. Among the most influential was the album Saxophone Colossus. The record became an instant classic and earned Rollins the nickname Saxophone Colossus. The album featured unforgettable performances and compositions that demonstrated his remarkable creativity. Songs such as Street Thomas became jazz standards and remain widely celebrated today. Additional classic albums followed, including Tenor Madness, Way Out West, Freedom Suite, A Night at the Village Vanguard. These recordings established Rollins as one of the most innovative voices in modern music. One of the most remarkable chapters in Rollins' life occurred at the height of his success. Although critics and fans praised his work, Rollins felt dissatisfied with his own playing. Instead of continuing to perform publicly, he made a shocking decision. He stepped away from the spotlight. Beginning in the summer of 1959, he spent countless hours practicing alone on New York City's Williamsburg Bridge. The bridge offered privacy and freedom. For more than 2 years, Rollins worked relentlessly to improve his technique and artistic vision. Few successful musicians have ever taken such a bold step. His dedication became legendary. When he returned to recording, he released the acclaimed album The Bridge, which symbolized both his absence and triumphant comeback. Throughout the 1960s, 70s, 80s, and beyond, Sonny Rollins remained one of jazz's most respected performers. Unlike many artists who become comfortable with familiar styles, Rollins continued experimenting. He explored new sounds, embraced different influences, and constantly challenged himself. His live performances became legendary. Audiences admired not only his technical brilliance, but also his ability to create entirely new musical ideas in the moment. Improvisation was his greatest gift. No two performances were exactly alike. This unpredictability kept fans returning year after year. As his influence grew, Rollins received numerous prestigious honors. Among them were multiple Grammy Awards, Grammy Lifetime Achievement Recognition, National Medal of Arts, Kennedy Center Honors, recognition as an NEA Jazz Master. These honors reflected not only his extraordinary musicianship, but also his impact on American culture. One reason Sonny Rollins remained respected for so long was his humility. Despite worldwide fame, he never stopped searching for improvement. He studied philosophy, practiced yoga, explored spirituality, and emphasized personal growth throughout his life. For Rollins, music was more than entertainment. It was a path towards self-discovery. This philosophy shaped both his art and his character. Many younger musicians viewed him not only as a performer, but also as a mentor and role model. In later years, health problems gradually limited Rollins' ability to perform. He eventually retired from public performances in 2014. Although he missed being on stage, he remained connected to music and continued reflecting on his remarkable career. Even after retirement, his influence continued to grow. New generations of listeners discovered his recordings and gained appreciation for his genius. On May 25, 2026, Sonny Rollins died at his home in Woodstock, New York, at the age of 95. His passing was confirmed by his publicist. Cause of death. Reports indicate that Rollins had experienced serious respiratory and pulmonary health problems for several years. He had previously retired because of illness, including pulmonary fibrosis, and had reportedly been largely confined to his home in recent years due to multiple physical issues. While some initial announcements did not specify an exact cause of death, multiple reports connected his declining health to long-term respiratory complications. His death marked the end of an era in jazz history. News of Rollins' passing prompted an outpouring of tributes from musicians, critics, and fans worldwide. Many described him as one of the last giants of the bebop era and one of the most influential saxophonists who ever lived. Fans on music communities and jazz forums remembered his legendary performances, groundbreaking albums, and unmatched improvisational skills. The legacy of Sonny Rollins extends far beyond his recordings. He changed the language of jazz. He inspired countless musicians. He demonstrated that artistic growth never ends. His story is one of talent, perseverance, discipline, and lifelong curiosity. Few artists have influenced music so deeply for so long. As future generations continue discovering his work, the sound of Sonny Rollins' saxophone will remain alive. His recordings, compositions, and spirit ensure that his contribution to music will never be forgotten. Thank you for watching. What is your favorite Sonny Rollins performance or album? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this tribute and would like to see more biographies and cause-of-death documentaries about legendary musicians, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Rest in peace, Sonny Rollins. Your music will continue to inspire the world for generations to come. Sources: Reuters, Associated Press, Los Angeles Times, CBS News, and other contemporary reports on Sonny Rollins' death and career.